Okay.
Wow, world of water. We want to talk to you today about something that's just so practical, but so necessary. What's one thing everybody needs, and if they don't have it, they wish they had, or sometimes they wish they had and they don't have access to it? That is pure water. What if there's a way for you to have pure water every single day for the rest of your life? You never have to worry about anything as far as no electricity, no water flow, mm, anything you can think of, you still can have pure water. Water, as we know, is one of the most important things in our lives. You can live maybe a few minutes without air, but not very long. You can live 3 days without water, maybe a little longer, but not much longer. And then 30 days without food, but you're not going to get to the food if you don't have the water to get there. And to have that available to be able to last. And also you're going to need it when you prepare the food typically. So one of the things that we decided to do is try to create something and find something that would actually serve everybody, no matter what the situation, and not have to be concerned about relying on someone else, but being able to have your own self-sufficiency to be able to not only help yourself, but in our case, with what we have available, up to 300 other people every single day in an emergency, or even if there's not an emergency, no matter how long you need to utilize the system, it's always available every day for a lifetime. So we've talked some about that different times, and we may reference a little bit more, but I wanted to do something a little different today and just tell you a number of different ways that people utilize pure water. Sometimes you don't think about some of the reasons you would want pure water, not just water, but it kind of comes together when you find out how people use it and have used it and why they want something like a water filtration system that does last a lifetime. You never have to replace the filter. And the reason is because it's designed where it always creates pure water, but it's a gravity flow. So if it slows down just a little bit, you don't have to buy another filter. All you do is reverse it with some of the pure water it created, backwash it, turn it back around, and use it again every day, and just do that every once in a while, and you always have the ability to have pure water. So some use it in so many different ways. One of the ones that in our experience with what been doing, we have a person. His name was Joe. He had some physical challenges that were major, and they were in such a condition that all he could drink was pure water. And what he was having to do is go every week, and him and his wife have to buy water, bottled water, because their water wasn't clean where they lived, and would bring it home, and it ended up being about $55 to $60 every month they had to spend. It was quite a few months. They'd given him a few months to live, and it actually was about 10 months. And during that 10-month period, they were not being able to afford the water. So we had our nonprofit entity come together and donate that to Joe and his family. And they had pure water for those next 10 months, saved them over $600, and still, of course, his spouse still has it and can use it for the rest of her life. That is one. Then we have Christina, that she said, I live in a city that's the water is really nasty. So she had a massage. She's a massage therapist and podiatrist and worked with senior citizens primarily. And she would, as they came in, she would give them water and put some lemon in it to make it taste better. But she decided to purchase one of our safer, cleaner water systems, took it in there and began to give them pure water, no lemon, just the pure water. Before they would drink a little bit and just set it down and say that's all I want. But when she gave it, they said this tastes good, and some of them even wanted more because of the pure taste of the water. So serving people, and what she would do is give them a glass of water and say, "We want to give you a glass of water in the name of Jesus and bless you." Rod lives in a subdivision, and as we were talking to him one day about purchasing possibly the safer cleaner water system, He just paused for a moment. He said, "This could help my whole subdivision if there was an emergency and the electricity was out. With 300 people that it could serve every day, I could take care of that just myself with just one filter." So he purchased one, but he also uses it every single day, his water filtration system, for the water for not only their drinking but their cooking and also coffee, etc. And one of the things they hated is having to go to the grocery store, the supermarket, and take those 12 packs or 24 packs of water, load it, and all the things they had to do with it, and still not have pure water. And many of you know, I'm sure that just because it says pure or just because it says it's spring water or etc. doesn't mean it's actually pure. And the other thing that enters into it with many of those way they're packaged is the fact of the challenges with the microplastics. With what we have, the filter also takes out everything that would make you sick, the bacteria, the viruses, but also 100% of the microplastics. So that was another reason they liked it, to not have to ever buy bottled water again if they didn't want to. Terry said, "I want one because I have two pets and I always give them pure water. I always want to filter water for them. So I want a water filtration, safer water system so I can actually make my pets, serve my pets pure water every day." So that's why she bought it. She uses it, of course, as well. Boyd purchased one. He said, "I really need one because my mother lives next door to me, and I want my mother to also be prepared for pure water for life." Lauren has her parents and helped her parents get one. One of the things they were concerned about, they have a reverse osmosis system, but they said, what would happen if the electric goes out? There's no water going to be flowing where we could actually use that. I want to make sure I have pure water, even if I don't have anything running through my system or electricity. So they purchased one of the safer, cleaner water systems for that. We have a homeless shelter. And one of the things that we do with our nonprofits, we actually talk about this at different times, and we'll do that some more at another time as well. But we have a nonprofit entity, a 501c3, that's designed to serve those that have the greatest need for water. And as I talk to people, I say, what's the number one group of people in the United States that would have probably one of the largest challenges if there was no water, no electricity, etc.? And the answer to that are the homeless shelters. Those individuals depend on that homeless shelter for their food, for their clothing, and for a place to sleep many times. But in my research, and as we've talked to some of them, none of them have actually prepared for an emergency to have pure water. I was in one church one time, just a few months ago, and I was sitting there talking to them about what we have, and they do serve. Actually, their church that serves the number one church in that area that serves those that are in the need of homeless shelters, and when it's cold, a place to come into. And as I was talking to him the first time, he said, "Well, we already have pure water. We have a reverse osmosis system back in our activity building, and it takes care of everything here." And I just paused for a minute and I said, "Pastor, if the electric goes out, how much water is going to flow through there, and how much pure water are you going to have?" And he said, "You're right. I'm not going to not going to have any." Bottom line, we were able to help them, and someone donated the money for us to be able to donate that one to that homeless shelter, and they're the largest one in that county. Margaret, she actually purchased one for her own use, but she also raises funds and supports 25 to 30 families in one of the African countries. And she actually is using it now. And then she's using it in where she meets people and where they have gatherings and such, and shows them the water filtration system, but also uses it and asks them to donate funds to her charity for her to be able to help those 25 to 30 families in that foreign country. Paul is walking across Africa to bring attention to the need for pure water and showing those that have that in areas where there's a place where they could possibly dig a well, showing them how to dig a well, and then being able to have water. But what he found out is a couple things. One, just because somebody digs a well and the water comes out doesn't mean the water's pure. It's better than going to a stream possibly, etc., but still not pure. And the same with some of those that are doing boreholes and things like that in other countries to try to help have water in areas. Same thing with that. But then the other thing is I asked them if someone is 15 kilometers or more away from where that water well was dug or where the borehole is, how much would it help those? It wouldn't help them at all because they would not have access to it. So not only do the ones where they have water that still need to be purified need it, but the ones that are out of that range where they have to get it out of a stream or rainwater or something where even the stream is really dirty, this takes care of them as well. And one of the things that happened with that, Paul actually shared with me a while back, and he actually has purchased quite a few of these systems. People have donated for him to be able to do that. And now he actually is in Africa, walking across Africa, but also called me just a few weeks ago and recognized the fact that what we have with this system that will help either one family or three families or up to 300 people every day is something that's better, and it doesn't have to have any electricity or any water flow. You can get wherever the water is accessible, no matter how dirty you can get it. Zach has a wife that works part time at a dog kennel, and she takes her filter to work with her every day and purifies the water for the dogs at the dog kennel. Roger, he's preparing emergency kits for future disaster preparation, and they're looking and planning to include filters in each pallet that they send to areas in advance of an emergency so they can be prepared up front instead of wishing they had or having to wait and trying to find it later. And then Tim, this is an interesting one. He has an invention he created and he markets to dog owners. So the water the dogs drink is not scattered all over the floor. And it's just designed in a special way where it works that way. So he purchased one not only for himself, but to share with the dog owners he served so they can have clean water for all their pets. And then what we're finding in the last 6 or 8 weeks, we have had 10 countries, either someone in that country or someone that represents them in that country, to say we need something that we can have pure water. And that actually does happen. But the other thing that happens is they realize not only do they need to have pure water, but they also have the situation to where, well, just like for example, just this last week, we had a person, Clarence. He was with a nonprofit entity, and they have a school in Uganda with 68 students, and in those 68 students, uh, Dan is the one that heads that school, and also has a church there. And what they did is actually Clarence said we want to get 5 of those water filtration systems and donate it to Dan's school so those 68 children in Uganda can have pure water for life. So the nonprofit entity purchased it, and before the end of this month, Clarence is going to Uganda with those 5 filters and actually watching and helping set up. And it's very simple, but having and showing them how to do that and taking the pictures of that, bringing it back to us. There's such a need for this. I recognize that when we begin to develop it, but every day that I serve, I recognize there's greater needs than what we can ever imagine. And what we have the ability to do with God's help is actually have millions of people over the course of time in the next few months that will have pure water for life. And we thank you for listening. And if you have the desire to help in any way, there's different ways you can help. Number one, you can donate to our 501c3. Another thing you can do is you can purchase one for yourself, a $100 donation to our nonprofit. And another thing you can do is this is something that really made a difference in a lot of people's lives when they understood this. All you have to do, you may have one, two, three, 10 more, even more than that you would like to serve and help and to have pure water. All you have to do is donate $100 for each of those to our nonprofit. And you can also, of course, get one for yourself. But all you have to do is give us where you want them shipped, and we take care of everything else. The shipping is included. You may want one for yourself, and then, of course, all those that you gave to for, you actually have a tax benefit as well. And some say, well, I don't have a lot, or I have some, but I would like to give more. You can give that to our nonprofit, our 501c3, where we can actually serve the homeless shelters that we described all across the nation, where they can be prepared to help those that are in the greatest need, no matter when it comes or if it never comes. They can even use it every day to give pure water to all they serve as well. Thank you.